The Lunaverse, episode 24, by Fizzy Orange. Lunaverse by Rainbow Double Dash. Chapter 6, Secret of Atlantis. Trixie didn't really want to deal with this right now, but the pony pretending Rarity was not one to underestimate. You! Repeated Trixie, pointing at the hoof of the imposter before her. What are you doing here? Where is real Rarity? What are you talking about, darling? I don't understand, said the white unicorn, feigning ignorance. Trixie swam away slightly. Don't play games with me, Zane. I can see through your illusions clear as day. The facade of shock disappeared from the other unicorn's face, replaced by a scowl of contempt. Trixie suddenly realized that the eye color had been wrong all along. Rarity had rich, deep blue eyes, but Zane kept her natural, cold, piercing, pale blue eyes. Her facial structure seemed to flicker, the illusions making the subtle differences in cheekbone structure between Ponyvlle seamstress and the spy barely holding on before reaffirming themselves. Zane growled in anger and frustration. I don't know how easily you can see through illusions, you annoying juvenile nag. Whatever trick you are using is incredibly unfair, and I hope you don't spray it in court, she said, stopping one of her tricks she was using to modify her voice, speaking her own. Enough! Answer me. Where is the real Rarity? Trixie asked again. Zane let out a loose of mocking laughter, switching back to Rarity's voice halfway through. Welcome to Carousel Boutique, where everything is chic, unique, and magnifique, Trixie gasped. You mean she's still in Ponyville? You've been Rarity this whole time? Bravo, Inspector Little Moon. I arrived a day before you and your little friends did. Darling! Trixie didn't understand how, but Zane managed to make the word darling sound like threatening, a little more than insulting. Trixie hadn't realized at first, but the two of them were now swimming in a circle, making sure not to let the other get close. So, were you sent here to spy on us? Did whoever hire you to kidnap Ditzy? Or maybe you did, and you're just covering your trick! Zane scoffed. Please, I'm a blackmail expert. I don't do kidnapping. Taking care of secrets is much easier than taking care of a live captive. Besides, we've been together since we dived. The spy suddenly kicked her legs and was now nose to nose with a surprised Trixie. And for what it's worth, I was being honest before when I said I owed you one. You and the other member of your merry little bands have saved Equestria for Corona. As such, I owe you a favor. I don't let debts go unpaid for too long, and helping you find your wall-eyed friend will satisfy my principles. Trixie pushed her off of her front hooves. And you expect me to believe that? The white pony rolled her eyes. Frankly, darling, I don't give a darn what you believe. I'm helping you bring Ditzy back to her daughter in one piece. Once that happens, I'll go back to my business and let you enjoy your vacation in peace. It'll be much easier to get to the happy ending with my help. Trixie glared. Your business? You mean you're in Cayo El Bayo to spy on Wind Sailor? Zane chuckled, shifting back to Rarity's voice. Possibly. Poor Wind Sailor. He's a nice boy, but a little too gullible. Don't worry, I'll make sure not to break his heart too much when I disappear. Anyway, what I do on my own time is none of your business. Unless you wish to share Wind Sailor with me. I admit he's a lean, athletic fellow, and rumors tell me he's quite the beast in the sock. At Trixie's flustered expression, the other unicorn let out a mocking laugh. Falling pounding glare didn't exactly help matters. Stop intimidating Rarity! The show's over, said Trixie, steering the conversation away from an embarrassing topic. A showmare such as you should know that isn't right. The show is never over, for the whole world's a stage, began Zane, shaking her purple-maned head. Scylla already doesn't trust us very much, and you want to admit you brought a spy, an impostor, into the midst of her camp? Do you think she'll take my duplicity well? There was tense silence for a minute. The blue mare wasn't sure she could trust Scylla to react in a reasonable fashion. It would be much easier to keep up the charade, as Zane suggested. After all, nobody else knew about it before, and it didn't change much. Her ponies didn't know the real Rarity, so it was not like she was actively deceiving them by pretending to be someone they knew, right? For some reason, that didn't sit right with Trixie. The rare ponies had shown them their secret hideout, something important, and Scylla had agreed to trust, if only a little, a group of outsiders. If the merpony and Lyra were to eventually learn the truth, the betrayal would probably hurt more, as if it was discovered that Trixie knew along and said nothing. She also didn't want Zane to keep deceiving her friends, and would prefer to expose the spy now. Taking away her secret identity would probably go a long way in stopping any potential schemes. "No," she said. "We're telling the merponies the truth once we meet up with them. You'll tell them that your trick had nothing to do with them at all. You'll make things more complicated, but it's the right thing to do." Zane let out a sigh, but didn't protest further. "Now, let me check if those sharks are gone," continued the blue unicorn, turning herself invisible. But before Trixie could put her head off the top of the kelp forest, a loud voice rang out, "Miss Dew, are you all right?" As Zane once more in her role of Rarity. Penny Trixie reappeared in a split second. "What are you doing? The cow sharks will be on us in seconds!" Zane shrugged. "I'm pretty sure they left around the time you discovered my little secret. I heard a couple of large snakes swim away, and they stopped patrolling above us." The blue unicorn was reminded of their last encounter, and how Zane sworn that Trixie would one day regret ever meeting her. Seeing as soon today would be that day. "We don't know what they're capable of," she declared, looking upwards as he expected to be attacked by one of the chimeric sharks. "Maybe, but they don't know what we are capable of," replied the white unicorn. "Rarity?" came the distant voice of Ditzy Dew. "Oh, Miss Dew, a pleasure to hear you, darling. Are you unharmed?" "Yes, I want to see ponies. Are you three all right?" asked Ditzy. "We both are, anyway. Lyra, what about you?" asked Trixie. There was an uncomfortable silence after the question. It got more and more worrisome as the minutes went by. Finally, after what felt like an eternity to Trixie, but was only 2 minutes, she finally swam above the kelp and looked around the area. The green mass of kelp forest was impenetrable. If her mentee friend were below, it would be impossible to spot her with eyes alone. But it did not prevent Trixie from attempting it anyway. And Trixie hadn't already been submerged in water. Sweat would be dripping from her brow by that point, as she kept calling for her friend. "Lyra! Lyra! Where are you? Anybody seen Lyra?"
"Saw her last week with Luke Tutor. Luke, where's Lyra?"
came the voice of Dusty Jack, somewhere in the kelp below. Once again, there was no answer. "Trixie, what's going on?" asked Ditzy, worry evident in her voice. "Rock Beauty, have you seen Lute or Lyra?" asked Scylla, only to find no one to answer her. Trixie was surprised when the merpony Lyra emerged from the kelp forest at full speed. Scylla looked enraged. Her pupils had shrunken down to pinpricks, and she looked every which way like a predator on the hunt. Dusty Jack quickly followed her. He tried, without success, to get her back under the cover of seaweed. "Sea ponies! What have you done with my clan members? Show yourself, you bastards!" she hollered. "Bring all your cow sharks. I don't care. I'm not going to let you get away with it this time. Not with me here!" Ditzy spoke up again, this time her worried voice also tinted by confusion. "Trixie, please, what's going on?" "Ditzy, get out of there! Your new friends have just sent their cow sharks after Lyra and 2 of the merponies." "What nonsense is this? The cow sharks work for the merponies. This was all a ruse. Don't go, Miss Dew!" came an outraged female voice Trixie didn't recognize. "Liars! Don't listen to her!" said Scylla. "Why don't you stop hiding behind your monster scoon and fight me directly instead?" "I fall to the trap. I don't think so, merpony," replied the voice. "Trixie, the sea ponies didn't do anything. I was with them the whole time. The cow sharks appeared from over the right only after your group disappeared to the kelp," explained Ditzy.
"Obviously, they were already on our tails by then,"
suggested Dusky, trying to still calm Scylla, who was trying to dive into the green mass to fight on her own. Trixie was about to talk when Zane passed by her. I've had enough, she said first softly, before moving on to saying, Miss Dew, you'll need to get your friends to come out of the cab so we can all talk face to face. I believe I understand what's going on. Talk? I don't want to talk with some pony who just took two of my youngest ponies away, who have been taking my family and friends for years, growled Scylla. You, see, Shanti, you took my little ponies. You took my mother and my daughter, you monster! Don't take our tragedy like they were your own! Replied the female voice. Trixie assumed was a sea pony. Zane was gritting her teeth, clearly getting tired of this. Enough! Ditzy, there are no cow sharks around. So now get up here so we can stop shouting! There was silence for a minute, and finally a small group came out of the weathering forest at the bottom of the ocean. There was Ditzy with 3 sea ponies. One was yellow, the other was magenta, and the final one, a male, was blue. She wasn't sure what Zane was getting at. She was glad to see Ditzy again, but now they had to hunt down Lyra. Who knew where she was now? Trixie took a moment to rush and embrace her friend in a hug. I was so worried, Trixie said, letting go of the Great Pegasus. I was too. I hope Dinky isn't too scared. Where is she? Asked Ditzy, somewhat worried. Bon out of the star and Windsailor. Went back to the boat with her. She'll be fine, answered the unicorn. Now, we just need to find out where Lyra was taken. Maybe it's where they took you. What happened with you, anyway? I heard you were attacked by cow sharks and taken by the sea ponies, and now you're all to sea tummy with them? I was attacked by those things, but the sea ponies saved me. Sea Cucumber, another sea pony, saw me and rescued me from my attackers. The red ponies are the ones controlling the sharks, Trixie. What? While the two had talked, the sea ponies and mer ponies approached each other and maintained a respectable distance between them. With some prodding from Zane, the 2 leaders introduced themselves in their group. I'm Scylla, and this is Dusty Jack. My name is Celebidus. These are sea racers, and see you around. Good. This is my Miss Dew. Mrs. Dew, I'm Trixie Lunamoon, and I am, began the fake Rarity before being interrupted. Zane. Her name is Zane, replied Trixie, much to Ditzy's shock. Wait, I thought her name was Rarity, asked the confused Dusky. That's what I thought, too. She fooled my friends and I by impersonating some pony we knew. Zane came to this area to spy on an important pony. It was just bad luck that we ran into each other. Doesn't really matter now, explained Trixie. What's important is that some of our friends went missing. Still glared at Trixie. What do you mean it's not important? How can we trust her? For all I know, she could be working for the sea ponies. Oh, at best, why should I trust any of you? Dry ponies have never did anything to help us. Shura shook her head. Yeah, delusional. Zane interrupted the budding argument before it could get any further. Silence! The 2 aquatic leaders turned their angry gaze towards her. Now, before I let you fools tear each other apart, she began, all of her illusions disappearing as he spoke, let me ask you both one question. The sea ponies and mer ponies obviously were surprised at the change. Gone was the curly violet mane and jeweled cutie mark, replaced by the straight lavender mane and a black envelope. Her face was also slightly different. A narrower muzzle, higher cheekbones, and sharper eyes. Zane's voice also lost the fake put-on Canterlot accent and soft tones of Rarity, becoming colder and more patronizing. Trixie herself only had a little exposure to Zane's true self, so she took a second to just look at her. Finally, she proceeded with her question. When was the last time any of you spoke to the other side? Any of you personally? The 2 leaders opened their mouths at the same time to speak, but the Bureau stopped, looking confused and searching their memories. I don't. I never spoke to any mer pony before. A minute to remember this. I don't think I ever knew of any pony who did either. I've never have either, said Scylla. Why do you ask? Zane took her poor head. You poor fools. Can't you see? What about you, Trixie? I'm sure a stage musician, even an amateur like you, could spot an obvious misdirection a mile away. Trixie looked from Scylla to Cerberus, then back again. Both looked sincerely angry at each other. None of them had obvious telltale signs when they were ranting either. She mentally replayed the conversation they had shared since Lyra's disappearance. Realized this as Zane was referring to. Her eyes bulged when she realized he hit her. They are both certain the other controls the cow sharks. Then it must mean. Zane smiled and saw Trixie the kind of look you give a small child who completed her first math homework. Exactly. What? What are you two talking about? Answered Scylla. I've seen this situation before, darling. Maybe not on such a scale, but it was certainly the same kind. I've seen the initiator a few times myself. That's why I can say with confidence that. The spy smiled, a smile turning into a grin at her dramatic pause. There's a third party at work here. Some pony is controlling the cow sharks, manipulating you into believing the other is responsible for the attacks. Lyra felt herself being jostled around as she woke up. Her eyes were still closed, and she wondered what Bonbon was up to. Her mere friend was usually much better at getting out of her bed without waking her. Light was flaring through her eyelids so reflexively, she tried to grab a blanket to wrap around her head, only to find out her hose were trapped against her barrel. Then she realized she wasn't in her warm, comfortable bed, but in the clutches of some unknown creature. Opening her eyes just in time to realize that said creature was now throwing her towards a wall. Lyra gasped and brought her hose forward, the momentum of the sudden action breaking her forward surge, sending her careening upside down in water. This sudden shift in perspective reminded her of her current predicament as all events of the day rushed back to her in memory. She had to have been attacked by cow sharks that the loot turtle had sent on the offensive, but she had also caught Rock Beauty. Why was the merpony turning on her own people? What was going on? Ugh. Miss Lyra, are you all right? Asked Rock Beauty, trying to get her back to an upright position. Lyra took a second or two to take in her new location. The two of them were still on the bottom of the ocean, in what appeared to be the ruins of a building. On one side was a wall of carved stone about 3 ponies tall. That all seemed to be the remainder of a building, with 2 parts more walls visible on each side. Most of that wall was covered with barnacles, coral, and other sea life, but a section had been cleared to add ancient carvings that could be seen more clearly. Again, this wall had been laying large, long stone slabs, possibly of some sort of ruined structure, at regular interval. Large stones separated by a hoof-like gap through which sunlight could be filtered, but which rendered any sort of escape impossible. The place was effectively a cage. Against one end of the triangular prison, where one of the side walls was its boss, seemed to rest a pane of rusted metal with a door. The door had a small circular window that was cracked. The door in question was closing with some kind of creaking metal. The metal pane seemed to have been a part of a larger structure, possibly some kind of boat hangar, but now was just used as an easy way to keep prisoners to a makeshift cage. A quick glance at the other end of the prison revealed a boulder blocking the way. Yeah, I'm fine. A bit confused, but fine, finally answered Lyra. How was I out, and where are we? I think we were out for about 15 minutes. I don't know where they took us. They kept me blinded while they carried me, answered Rock Beauty, looking defeated. We're a secret base of the cow sharks and their true mistress, said a new female voice, coming from somewhere in their cage. From behind a stone block that used to be a part of the wall, a new form timidly emerged. It looked like a seahorse with the head of a pony, but her body was a nice aquamarine color. Her shirt made was streaked in white and pink. Lyra immediately recognized one of the sea ponies, but it was clearly not one of the 3 she had placed alongside Ditzy a short while ago. A sea pony! Said Raphael with gas. Are you here to torture us? We'll never talk. The sea pony seemed to flinch and backed away. What? No, I would never hurt any pony. The sharks captured me earlier today, just like you two. My name is Sea Shanty. I'm Lyra. Lyra Heartstrings. Can you... She was interrupted before Lyra was interrupted by Parkway passing past her. Why would they do that? The cow sharks were for you sea ponies, she said, coming out to the other side of the stone Sea Shanty was using as a barrier. No, they don't, quickly answered Sea Shanty, before she looked down dejectedly. At least, they only work for one of us. When they captured me, I found out my very best friend was behind the attack. She could order the cow sharks like they were her pets. And why should I believe you? That's another story you're telling us to get us to talk.
Lyra placed her hoof on Rockbeauty's shoulder.
Is it really that hard to believe, Rockbeauty?
It was Luke Turtle who ordered the attack that got us caught.
Beauty's expression saddened to remind her. Lute, why would she do this to me? Why would she work with the cow sharks who keep attacking us? What's going on here? I don't understand,
she said, pounding the stone with a block hoof.
Don't worry, we'll figure it out, said Lyra, before looking to Shanty. We're all in the same situation. Let's stay together for now, okay?
Shanty nodded grimly, but then she suddenly gasped as her eyes began to visibly shimmer.
Oh my goodness, I'm talking to a dry pony, a real bona fide in the flesh dry pony of the unicorn kind. I have so many questions about you, world. I've never talked to a dry pony before. This is so amazing.
Her voice full of excitement.
I know, right?
Added Rockbeauty with a grin. The two aquatic ponies looked away from each other at the same time, suddenly feeling very self-conscious about the situation.
You know, it's the first time I've spoken with a sea pony,
commented Rockbeauty.
Me too, replied Shanty. I've never spoken to a mer pony, and not that I haven't spoken with a sea pony before. That would be weird. I'm not weird. I understand. My name's Rockbeauty, by the way.
The mer pony tentatively extended a hoof to the sea pony. After staring at it for a second, she took a hold of it with her little fins and took the preferred hoof heartily. Green Lyra then offered her own hoof to Shanty to shake.
Good. We're on our way to become fast friends. If there's one thing I've learned since becoming an element of harmony, there's nothing you can't do with friends by your side.
Even turn into a naked hominin and back, said Lyra, less as confused as the two ocean dwellers. So he decided to ignore their confused stare, swam up to a gap in one of the sail.
Let's see if I can spot anything useful. By the stars!
She gasped. Rockbeauty quickly joined her, but Shanty remained behind. She had clearly already seen what had shocked Lyra. Rockbeauty slammed above Lyra's head and peered through the gap.
She too let out an exclamation at the sight beyond.
They were clearly at the edge of a larger complex of underwater ruins, sitting atop of a natural hill carved into the sea floor. In the plain below, they could spot a dozen or so structures that had been excavated, with two or more aware figures were clearly seen moving rocks, sands, and debris away. The figures were a mix of sea pony and mer pony, all clearly shackled by the necks. 4 large shark creatures, all grotesquely deformed with incoherent body parts attached to them, seemed to watch over them over by dig site.
Oh my gosh, that's pufferfish. I recognize that teal and yellow mane anywhere. He disappeared a month ago,
said Rockbeauty.
My mother's down there,
timidly added Shanty.
I haven't seen her in years. I'm sure it's her down there.
Merpony turned and quickly regarded the sea pony in a brand new light. Without saying a word, she went and grabbed her friend a new hug. Lyra regarded the sin with fondness, glad that the two had quietly put away their tribal animosity in the face of this new situation. Whoever was running the slave camp had a lot to answer for. The unicorn turned back to the scene and examined the surrounding. The plain below came to a sudden plunge as the giant dark chasm seemed to open to the ocean floor. It was wide, but it didn't seem like the edge of a continental shelf because she could, barely in the pervading haze, make out its edge in the distance. Off to the side of the camp, the seafloor turned into a sheer wall that climbed up and disappeared above the water. From this angle, Lyra wasn't certain, but she swore she could see the shape of Lucky Seagull Island looming over the plateau in a nearby hole. She wondered if the fact that no boats had ever crashed against it might not be a coincidence, but she might be the slavers trying to keep nosy dry ponies away.
What have we gotten ourselves into?
Lyra quietly asked herself. She was contemplating how to stage an escape when the painful sound of metal scraping against metal caught her attention. The door to their improvised cell was opening. Lyra quickly slammed back to the center of the room to stand by her new friends. The first to enter was the one that had captured Rockbeauty. It was a gray shark that had apparently seen its entire shield tail section replaced with thick, gray-colored octopus tentacles. Its bared teeth at the trio, making the merpony and sea pony flinch in fear. Next figure that entered was much different. It was a pale green sea pony, colored on like Lyra's own coat, darker mane. Lyra didn't have much experience with sea ponies, but she looked small and young. However, The scowl she wore on her face and the cold, calculating gleam in her eyes made her look much more experienced than one would assume. This was a pony in charge.
Sorry I had to make you wait. I had to change before seeing you,
The newcomer said, chuckling at a little joke only she understood.
Sea Cucumber, what are you doing? Demanded Sea Santy.
And where's Blue Turtle? Added Rock Beauty. The one-to-tall sea cucumber only laughed in answer. It was a cruel, mocking laughter with very sharp staccato rhythm that grated on Lyra's ears.
You are in no place to demand answers,
Simply stated the sea pony after being done with laughter.
I'm in charge here. You would do well to remember that.
Once again, her voice betrayed a pony with more experience than her look would suggest. Her voice was high-pitched, but it was filled with cool confidence, like she had done this multiple times in her past.
The only reason you three aren't out there moving with rocks with the others is because I need your skills,
She began, pointing in the general direction of the work camp with her thin.
You'll do as I ask, or else.
Lyra couldn't ignore a pitch like that. Or else what, you overgrown sea monkey? She asked defiantly. Sea comes there, then turned slightly towards the door before speaking.
Number 4,
she said simply. A second cow shark entered the cell. This one had the spotted body of a leopard shark, if not the appropriate size. Its fins had been replaced by huge, hairy arms of some kind of ape, like a gorilla. He had brought his huge, massive fist onto the other hand, audibly cracked his knuckles. Lyra wasn't quite sure what it was supposed to mean, but the way it and its octopus-like counterpart now stood at the ready was definitely threatening.
I control the cow sharks. If you displease me, you'll have to contend with them. What do you want anyway, you traitor?
Asked Sea Santy.
Don't worry. It's nothing particularly dreadful. I just want you to decipher some wall carving,
explained Sea Cucumber, extending a fin towards the piece of wall that was the main feature of their cell.
I uncovered those carvings recently. They appear to be a type of musical notation. Decipher the song from me.
Why should we help you anyway? What's in it for us? Asked Lyra, glaring daggers at the sea pony.
You'll have the satisfaction of helping solve the greatest archaeological mystery of all time,
Sea Cucumber replied, spreading her fins wide. Lyra smirked. So what? Are you going to give us credit in your next Journal of Archaeology paper?
Don't push me, little unicorn,
snarled Sea Cucumber.
After all, a little boat all alone in the big ocean, any creature could go and attack it. Is there some ponies you care about on there?
Lyra's glare had been filled with anger before, and was now filled with unbridled rage. She barely managed to hold herself from attacking the sea pony before her right there. She remembered she wasn't alone in this, and managed to calm herself a little. You wouldn't dare, she said.
I would, if you pushed me too far, you little brat. As for you two,
she began, turning to her two prisoners,
I hope you realize your little hideouts are not in any way secret, and they remained undisturbed through my good grace.
Sea Cucumber was about to add something, when her octopus hybrid was suddenly shaken by twitches as if in seizure. His jaws opened wide, revealing sharp teeth as it let loose some sort of plaintive moan. Arcs of errancy suddenly began to course through his body. This new development was rather frightening for the three prisoners, but only seemed to annoy Sea Cucumber.
Not again! Number 4! Grab number 8! Time for the top-up.
She said with a groan. She turned towards the door, leaving her servant to his task. But she didn't leave before one last answer warning to her captives.
You three better remember the fate of your friends. All your friends is in my hooves. I will be back in the hour, and I expect some progress report, she said. I don't think you can fool me either.
With that, she exited the room, followed by the cow sharks. The door closed with a loud noise before locking. Lyra quickly went to prod the door to see if the old rusted wall had any give to it, but there was nothing. Peering through the cracked round window embedded in the door, she could spot the shape of a third shark creature guarding the door. This one had large crab arms jutting from the side. Lyra let out a sigh and slumped against the door as best she could under wire. She considered using her magic, but wasn't sure she could pick whatever locking mechanism was blocking the door without line of sight. She wasn't sure she could take on those shark things in an underwater fight. There was an uneasy silence in the cell for a while, before she decided to break it. Hooves, she muttered.
What?
Added Rock Beauty.
He says, I know it sounds silly, but I find it so odd. Sea cucumber, or whoever really she is, said the fate of our friends was in her hooves.
Lyra raised an eyebrow at the odd topic.
So? She doesn't have hooves,
pointed out Rock Beauty.
You're right, that is weird.
Lyra shrugged. That's just another mystery to add to the pile. Not much we could do about it now. How about we take a look at those carvings?
You just gonna let her threaten you like that?
Asked Rock Beauty, surprised.
I'm not saying we do exactly as she says,
said Lyra. We'll buy her time and think of a way to get back to our friends. In the meantime, these carvings can tell us more about this place, or what Sea Cucumber and Loot Tower are after. The Sea Pony and Mer Pony looked at each other, and at once they nodded in agreement. The trio then went over to take a look at the wall. What had been uncovered was a large, rectangular prison. Above and below, it was stylized waves held between two lines. The whole shape still having specks of some shiny blue scales left in them, under a set of inlay that had long since been washed away by erosion. The far right of the section, which Sea Sandy assured the other two was the traditional reading for Old Atlantean, was a series of pictograms depicting the three tribes of aquatic pony, surrounding a circular depression, being grasped by the interlocking tentacles of two jellyfishes. One above and the other beneath the circular hole that Lyra suspected held some sort of decoration, obviously a pearl at some point in the far past. She recognized the shapes of the sea ponies and mer ponies, but she took a few seconds to appreciate the little pictograph of the plesiosaur pony. It had an oval body, fins at the front and back, a stubby little tail, and a long neck and the head of a pony.
The plesiosaur ponies must have been quite a sight,
she said out loud. The other two nodded, silently. It was sad to consider that a whole civilization had disappeared in the midst of history like that. Lyra's mind was quickly returned to the carving, though. One thing that was odd about the placement of the three little pentagrams was how, rather than equally placed around the jellyfish formation, there was a sea pony and mer pony on the right side, and a single plesiosaur pony on the left side. All three figures were looking away from the circle.
Is this depicting the war that destroyed Atlantis? When your three tribes fought over the jellyfishes?
Asked Lyra, pointing at the depiction. Rock Beauty and Sea Sandy looked at each other with raised eyebrow.
Fighting over jellyfishes? The jellyfish is, or at least was, the symbol of unity between the three tribes,
said Rock Beauty.
Oh yes, it was a creature that all three tribes needed to survive, back when our people still tended to ocean life,
added Sea Sandy wistfully.
That there is the classic symbol of the real cause of the war,
added Mer Pony.
An artifact of untold power that was entrusted to the Atlantean to be safeguarded and never be used, said the Sea Pony.
The Jellyfish Lantern, they both said at once.
Jellyfish Lantern?
asked Lyra, surprised.
Oh yes. I don't know how much is true, but there's a lot of legends about it. All the ones I know about the war tell of how it was over control of the Jellyfish Lantern,
said Rock Beauty.
I've never heard of it,
said Lyra, tracing the shape of her hooves. The Sea Pony and Mer Pony looked at each other in surprise.
Really? But you seem to know a lot about us.
Lyra shrugged. Most of it has been distorted by the ages. I guess some of our stories about your war don't really match up with your own knowledge of it. It happens more often than you think. You'd think Princess Luna would speak up when she can.
Well, do you know where sea ponies and mer ponies come from? Asked Sea Sandy.
I assume that when a mommy sea pony and a daddy sea pony like each other very much, they... began Lyra, not sure where this question was going. Sea Sandy gasped and began to blush fury.
No. I mean, where we come from as a race.
Rock Beauty giggled softly, causing Lyra to smile.
Legend has it our ancestors were dry ponies, just like you. But at some point, the legend began to sink into the ocean, so that he tried to run away by boat. Some of them made it, were led to Equestria by the sun and moon. But a group of them got lost at sea and were stuck in the storm. Nereus, spirit of the ocean, took pity on them and used his power to change them into sea ponies, mer ponies, and police ponies. Then he asked his daughter, Thetis, to take care of us, teach us how to live in the sea, and protect us. The Jellyfish Lantern is said to be a crystal lantern that holds all that's left of Neris's power today, said Rock Beauty, picking up the story. There's a bunch of different stories about how he died, or was torn to pieces by an evil monster from the abyss. I don't know what's the right one, but I know eventually that the mystical ball of light was entrusted to the Atlanteans. It was a powerful artifact that said to have the power to reshape the world. I heard it could grant wishes to the pure of heart, said Sea Tanty. Some stories even call it the heart of the ocean.
The heart of the ocean.
Look, I just am this close to finishing my story, Heart of Worlds. I don't need another heart-based object that has the power to be godlike. Speaking of which, all of you people who are listening to this, please check out Heart of Worlds, now nearing its completion. Enjoy. Say that Neris used up all his power to save us, and that's why it's his daughter and not him who watched over Atlantis. Point is, all 3 tribes were supposed to watch over it, but then the sea ponies wanted to keep it for themselves, said Beauty. No way, it was the mer ponies who wanted, said Santy. Sea ponies, mer ponies, sea ponies, I tell you, mer ponies, sea ponies, mer ponies, sea ponies. Stop! Said Lyra. Don't you see that's what the bad guys want? You guys apparently have been manipulated all along by the cow sharks into fighting each other. Accusing each other of something that had happened so long ago isn't going to solve anything. Let's just agree that someone, somewhere, wanted the big bad artifact for themselves. Something tells me that it was just a single individual, not the whole tribe that the pony happened to be from. I'm guessing that's what started the war. The sea pony and mer pony looked a bit sheepish in the bickering. Both nodded at Lyra's seduction. The unicorn turned back to the pictographs. It pointed to 3 simplistic representations of the aquatic tribes. So I guess this represents the point where they stopped working together. But why aren't they facing the lantern, or fighting over it, or even fighting at all? And what is that symbol above the police pony? She asked, pointing to some 3-tier triangle hovering above said pony. The Triforce! Do-do-do-do! Rock Beauty moved over, used her fin to remove some pieces from the grimy triangle. I'm not sure why they're turning away from it either. I don't know that symbol. Do you see, Santy? I think I've seen it before. I think it means ghost, or spirit, or departed. I think it means there aren't any police ponies anymore, replied the sea pony. They decided to move on to the rest of the carvings, which then moved to a section more familiar to Lyra. She had seen a similar music notation system, was studying a few pieces of Greek classical era music that had survived, mostly found in foreign libraries. The only difference was that this one was being written right to left, instead of left to right. It was a series of lines going up or down, ending in sharp squares that ended up starting again. The beginning of each section, possibly measures, was an odd symbol that she assumed was the name of a pitch or note. There's a few other symbols all throughout, but the essential was pretty clear. This is a different notation system, isn't it? It indicates changes to a pitch, starting from the one here at the beginning of the measure. Probably for a vocal performance considering the style, she said. Looks about right. It's using a few symbols I've never seen before, though. Like this one, said Sea Tanty, pointing to the one above its section. Her point got close to it. I think I know that one. It means the notation below is not to be sung, but only used as a guide for the following note. I think all of us together can decipher the song easily. I'm not sure if we should tell Tea Cucumber, or whoever she is about it, though. Lyra nodded her agreement. She turned back to the music seat and tried, as hard as she could, to hum a crude fusion of the song. It wasn't easy to essentially read a piece of music backward, but there was something strangely familiar about it somehow. She decided to move on to the last section of the wall that was uncovered. I swear to Celestia, if it turns out to be the Sea Ponies' main theme, I am so gone! After the musical notation was, once again, the image of a Plecio's pony spirit, this time standing side by side with the mer pony and sea pony as they looked toward a new form. It was a squash oval, on top of which a jagged line was rising.
like a forest of pine trees or exaggerated mountain ranges. Within the oval was a simple symbol of two concentric circular rectangles with rounded edges, and below the oval was another pictograph of a police pony. This one had its head dipped down, and didn't have any sort of spirit pictograph associated with it.
What's that supposed to be?
Asked the unicorn, pointing to the important symbol.
I'm not sure, though I know the symbol in the center is the sizzle of Thetis, Nereus' daughter and our ancestors' protector, said Sea Shanty.
Lyra nodded.
So, you think this song is an ode to Princess Thetis?
Rarity started to roll her eyes.
Thetis wasn't a princess, silly. She was our caretaker and guardian. She wasn't our leader. You dry ponies and your princesses.
Lyra ignored the remark, but took to note the proper way to address the physical figure of extra times.
And what about this other police pony? The only time I've seen one with a head dipped was whenever Aquarius, the last police pony, depicted,
answered Rockberry. The statement seemed Santi upgraded with a rod. The three considered the picture in silence for a while.
Why was this song so important that Sea Commander and Luke Tyro would want to get to Sea Pony and River Pony musical experts and grab the unicorn bard at the same time? Why risk attracting more attention to their operation when the dry ponies were around? What was this link to Thetis and that jagged line?
Lyra thought back to Sea Cucumber had said about the archaeological discovery, and it all became clear.
Girls, I know what this song is for, and why Cucumber wants it, began Lyra,
grabbing the attention of the other two ponies.
This song will lead right to Andalantis!